ready, Les? Les Buhite. You ready?
Good morning. I'm Ellen Moomaw, a longtime member of UUA, Amherst, I should say, UU Amherst. I started here in 1982 when our daughter was 1 year old, and we had just gone to Camp Unirondack and met the Shaw family up there. And David my husband, had been raised UU here in this congregation that didn't even have this building yet. And so we started coming here and have enjoyed it for so many years until I decided to go sing with the downtown choir for 20 years. But so happily back here with this wonderful, wonderful group of devoted and special UUs to me. We're so glad that each of you is here today. If you are a newcomer, we hope you'll keep coming back and make your spiritual home with us. For those who have already made UU Amherst your home, we hope you will continue to challenge yourself to grow and discover opportunities to learn and serve. For those gathered here in the chapel, I urge you to either place your phone on airplane mode or to turn it off completely to free up web bandwidth for the live stream. Please do that now. Thank you.
I add my welcome to the words already shared. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of their identities, are she and her. Everything about our time together today has been carefully crafted to create a cohesive experience. So let yourself relax and be fully present to what unfolds around and within you. You are safe here. You are among friends. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, you are welcome here. You are welcome in this religious home.
When we gather, we employ the elements of water and fire to create the sacred space where we can be fully present. We begin with an acknowledgement of our church that is built on holy ground, land that was nurtured and cultivated by those who occupied it before us. We offer this libation as our giveaway to honor the struggle of all people seeking justice and peace. We seek the courage and wisdom to heal the wounds of the past and build a better future story for all our neighbors and fellow creatures together. It is our custom when we gather to light a chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. We light our chalice with these words from Leslie Tahahashi: "On the brink, that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create: a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a greater generosity of spirit, a deeper joy in this life that we share." Please join me in our response. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
In some churches, this might be the moment when people rise and recite a creed, a statement of shared belief. Did you know that the Nicene Creed, created in 325 of the Common Era and amended in 381, is the most widely used confession of faith in the world? It was created to reject Arianism, a heresy that denied the full divinity of Jesus Christ. Now, you may be wondering, why the history lesson, Michelle? Well, let me show you. Arianism. Unitarianism. What? That's right. Unitarianism is rooted, has a deep history in Arianism, with a belief in the unity of God, God as one. For our spiritual ancestors, it didn't make any sense to have a Trinity. So don't worry, we are not going to engage in the anti-Nicene Creed. All of this is to make the point that this faith is not based in creeds. We have covenants, sacred promises of how we will strive to be with one another and in the world. And the covenant that we share does not go back to 325. This congregation created the covenant in 2016. So although it does not carry the weight of 1,700 years of faithful utterance, it speaks to who we are now, maybe into the future, and what is of ultimate importance to us as a congregation. The beauty of this faith is that we can reevaluate where we are, what we think, what we feel, and we can take out that pencil and try again. So I invite you to share with me our covenant. It doesn't matter if today is your first day, if you've been here forever or somewhere in between. I extend to each of you the invitation to participate as fully as you wish. So join me as you will. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world. Our song of intention this morning can be found in the Teal hymnal. It's number 1028. The words will be up front. It's called The Fire of Commitment. And as the band gets together, I just want to take a moment to welcome the newest addition to our music team, Rick Lenz. Yay! So by day, Rick is a chemical engineer and dad, and today he's joined by members of our house band, Phil Mann on bass, and snazzy Ron Canazzi on the drums. I am so grateful for their musical contributions, and I think you're going to have some fun today. So please rise and body your spirit, because you won't be able to stop yourself from doing so. Let's sing together.
When the
Let's just all catch our breath, and by that I mean me. So we're about to go from something very energized to something more intimate. You see, each week we bring our whole selves into this sacred time. We bring our joys, our concerns, our sorrows, our worries and overwhelm. And we bring it not so that we can sit here and quiver in whatever it is that is filling us, but so that we can share it in this container, knowing that we are held in the love of this group of people and in a love that we cannot even describe. So we take this time to sort of ritualize the moment of bringing your whole self into this space, into this community. And we place a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth, doing that in silence, but in community, noticing not only what's happening in ourselves, but what's happening in the people around us, and perhaps noticing a tear, offering a hand. So this is the time. This is the heart of this community. As the music plays, I offer you the opportunity to come forward. I offer a final stone for our folks who are participating online. Know that you are held and are an important part of this community. So let's just share a few breaths in your own time, at your own depth of breathing. again, just arriving more deeply. Our congregation is very diverse. So we expand our circle to include those who may not be present, but who are held deeply in our hearts. We bring into our circle of love and care those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who are lonely, those who are feeling overwhelmed, those who have been wronged. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to love and to care. May it ever be so in our lives. Amen, and blessed be. Our musical meditation is Spirit of Life. You can find it in the gray hymnal, number 123. Go ahead. Aww. I am in that in-between stage with glasses. I apologize for the glasses ballet that's happening up here. My daughter is on the second or third reading of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. I should clarify. She's probably on her 10th or 11th reading. I'm talking about her reading that classic book of courage and friendship to her daughters. The twins are almost 4, and the baby is just under 18 months. My daughter started reading aloud to the twins shortly after she discovered that she was pregnant, reading to them in utero. I imagine they will have heard the whole Lord of the Rings cycle by the time they're 6. It's a goal. So there's a passage in the Two Towers book that is inspiring my impulse to write a letter to the girls, a letter to be opened at a later date. And this passage from Tolkien begins with Frodo and Sam in terrible danger, and Frodo telling Sam, "I can't do this, Sam." And Sam responds, "I know. It's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here, but we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered, full of darkness and danger they were, and sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, It's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it'll shine out all the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. Frodo asks, "What are we holding on to, Sam?" And Sam replies, "That there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for." And so I offer a letter to my grandchildren. My dear girly cues, as I write this letter, the Turbo team is in transition. You twins have just begun preschool, and little Miss Pumpkin Pie is suddenly experiencing the life of a single child while you're in school. That's fun for a while, but I can tell you with some authority that it's not all it's cracked up to be. I'm glad you have each other and parents and grandparents who love you very much. It is my prayer that you hold on to that love and that you support one another in the days and years ahead. Also, as I write this, there is a group of powerful people in this country that want to make your life tight and small. They have big plans. And I hope that by the time you read this letter, those of us who love democracy, who love freedom, who love the earth and love all the creatures of the earth will have succeeded in thwarting their plans. It is my prayer that you will have full control of your bodies and what happens to them. I pray that you will have options and freedoms that I have taken for granted. I pray that you will see polar bears and salamanders, tigers and wolverines, and the many other species on the endangered list as I write this. I pray that you will forgive us, your ancestors, who for literally thousands of years treated the earth like a resource to be exploited, rather than the living source of all life, the literal ground of our being. I'm sorry for the hardship this will place on you and all of our earthly kin. But most of all, I pray that you will have resiliency and hope. And just like Frodo and Sam, you will press on, holding on to the conviction that there is good in this world. There truly is good in this world. You may have to search for some, and you'll need to be some, and that will be the path that is yours to take. Hold on to one another, hold on to love, and hold on to hope. Love, Mimi. And now I'm going to try to sing. So here we go. For the children to go to their programming, let us just remain seated and sing. They can go when they want. Go ahead, guys. There are tissues scattered around the sanctuary. Please feel free to access them. Glasses back on. Here we go. When I sit down to write a sermon, I'm not always sure what the outcome will be. What kind of sermon will it be? Will it be gently persuasive? Will it be uplifting, entertaining, or maybe downright dull? I don't think today will fall into any of those categories, and I'm not even sure it's a sermon. It can be a challenge for me, whose mother tongue is churchy language, not to use too much churchy language. I've been told it is off-putting and it excludes. And so it is with more than a little trepidation that I confess that my comments today are not a reflection or a sermon or even a talk. What I have to share with you this morning is a message, something that I'm compelled to offer as a word of hope and perhaps a challenge for action. The title kind of gives it away, Answering the Call of Love. That's the solution. But let's start with the problem. What would we say, Cher? And yeah, there you go. A little share for your morning. The radical religious right has an agenda, a 900-plus page tome known as Project 2025, with the purpose to roll back time, and not in a good way. Women's rights, public education, the rule of law, environmental protections, and the separation of church and state would all be turned back decades, maybe even centuries. It is our duty to educate ourselves and lift up our Unitarian Universalist values and principles of justice and equity and compassion, inherent worth and dignity, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, and our core value of democracy and democratic process. Let me say from the beginning that if you would like a deeper understanding of the particulars of Project 2025, you really should attend the informational workshop today at noon. It will be held in the living room. If you go out the doors and turn left, you will end up there. And don't worry, I'll remind you again at the end of the service. I just wanted to plant the seed. Our purpose in the time left today is to identify our sources of hope, recognizing that much about the time in which we are living may fill us with terror, confusion, and hopelessness. We cannot ignore the fact that in a few short weeks, something will happen. Whether for good or ill, something will happen. Meanwhile, there are all the things that seem beyond our control: the decimation of rainforests, the loss of critical earth minerals, rising sea levels, floods, wildfires, and acts of violence in our community and the world. No wonder we can be jaded pessimists. But even when we lose our capacity for optimism, we can be infused with hope. It is possible to be hopeful without being particularly optimistic. Frankly, optimism can be a little bit annoying. It's a little too sunny day for me. Optimism looks at the terrible situation and confidently tra-la-las that someone somewhere will fix it. Hope gives us the courage to roll up our sleeves and do something about it. So this is the point in the service where I need you to take off your rose-tinted glasses and put on your invisible hard hats. Not because I'm going to say hard things, but because I want you to be prepared to see things clearly and to have the courage to respond to the alarm bell that is clanging across this land. As I wrote in the letter to my grandchildren, there is a group of powerful people in this country that want to make your life and the lives of your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren tight and small. They have big plans. And I hope that those of us who love democracy, who love freedom, who love the earth, and who love all of life on the earth will succeed in thwarting their plans. I am not telling you who to vote for or not vote for in the coming election, although I will admit to being sorely tempted. I really do hate to say this, but when it comes to the Project 2025 conservative agenda, it almost doesn't matter who's in the Oval Office, because the wheels to repress democracy, limit women's health and reproductive choices, close the borders, strip veterans of their benefits, and carry on doing irreparable harm to the planet with a reckless drill, baby drill, are already in motion. That is all true. And those powerful people are not even trying to hide their intentions. I mean, they wrote a book about it. And the highest court in the land has already demonstrated their inability and disinterest in stopping them. And if you watch the news on any given day, then you know that for some godforsaken reason, there is a huge swath of people who love guns more than children. And that's why today I bring a message. I bring a message of hope and reason. I bring a message of justice and compassion. And I know I am probably preaching to the proverbial choir, but even a choir needs to do some warm-ups and learn some new techniques to get a message across, to reach hearts and minds, to soothe and inspire. So today, I bring a message. Now, some of you know that one of my favorite genres in reading material is speculative fiction, and specifically apocalyptic, dystopian speculative fiction. You know, the stuff that keeps you up at night. I don't read it for the part where civilization collapses. That's not fiction. I read it to learn from the small, motley band of folks who learn to live and work together and do what they can to bring a new world into being. Those are my people. So I also know that I have brought Octavia Butler's novels, The Parable of the Sower and The Parable of the Talents, to your attention before, but it seems timely to revisit the ideas that she poses. So let me give you just a thumbnail overview so that if you haven't read the books, you at least know where I'm going. So if you're not familiar with Octavia Butler, you should know that she was the recipient of several Hugo and Nebula Awards. Those are the literary awards for excellence in speculative fiction and science fiction. She was also the first science fiction writer to receive the coveted MacArthur Fellowship. As a Black woman, she did what few dared to do by creating Black characters, and most especially, strong, smart Black women. The main character in the two parable novels is a young Black woman named Lauren Oya Olamina, who's searching for a belief system that resonates with her experience. That feels so familiar. Finding none, she listens to her own heart and discovers a personal theology based in change. This is her manifesto in brief. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Create no images of God. Accept the images that God has provided. They are everywhere, in everything. God is change. Seed to tree, tree to forest. Rain to river, river to sea. Grubs to bees, bees to swarm. From one, many. From many, one. Forever uniting, growing, dissolving, forever changing. The universe is God's self-portrait. I love everything about that. It's sort of the definition of process theology, so that's kind of like getting 2 sermons in one day. You're welcome. But I brought Octavia Butler's parable novels to your attention today because I am especially interested in the second one, Parable of the Talents. If you have an opportunity to read it between now and Election Day, you might just discover that there was some prescience about where the country was headed. And I hope that whets your appetite to read the book. Fabulous. But of course, you really have to read the first one first to get the character. You're welcome. In the Parable of the Talents, Olamina calls her theology of change earth seed, with the premise being to gather like-minded folks and populate outer space with the best of humanity. Meh, not my scene. I really like the earth just fine. I'm interested in an emergent humanity right here. I can imagine an earth seed that desires not to escape Earth, but to be part of a community to look at our problems with a steady eye and a commitment to reseed the earth with the best potential of humanity. Reseed the earth? Ugh, does that mean getting rid of people? No. It's about changing hearts and minds. You know, the stuff we do every week. It's about bringing hope and love to a hurting world. Hope and love lived next door to each other in an apartment building not too far from here. They have been friends for forever and have even talked about being housemates, but they kind of like to have their own space. Occasionally, they vacation together, although they have kind of a funny idea of what a vacation means. The vacation that they keep talking about is that time that they went to New Orleans. And even though there was devastation and suffering everywhere they looked, they saw only compassion and community. Hope and love visited every frightened child, every family, every elder, every first responder and caregiver. Hope and love embraced rich and poor, people of every color and ethnicity, the prominent and the just getting by. They heard the call, and they answered. So here's a little secret. Hope and love are my imaginary friends. Well, they're not really imaginary, they're invisible. Let's call them invisible, because imaginary just sounds a little hopeless. Hope and love are my invisible friends, completely intangible. They can be yours too. In fact, really? Presto, you're all best friends with them. That is so cool. Thanks, guys. So the only way that they can be brought out into the world to be made visible, be made tangible, is for us to be willing to embody them, answering the call of love. We live in a scary time, and humans are not at their best when we are afraid. We have something important to offer the world. We began our service with words from UU minister Leslie Takahashi in her poem, On the Brink. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create: a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a greater generosity of spirit, a deeper joy in this life we share. You'll notice that we are not on the brink of all that we aspire to destroy. We are not on the brink of all we aspire to convert. We are certainly not on the brink of all we aspire to make tight and small. We are on the brink of all that we aspire to create. And that's what it means to answer the call of love. That's what it means to infuse the world with hope and joy. That's what it means to live our values out into the world. Peace, love, hope, generosity of spirit, and joy, these aren't just for us. These are not the blessings available to just a few. These are the abundant blessings available to all. And because we are an aspirational people, we claim these blessings with superlatives, not just peace, but a deeper peace, not just love, a larger love, not just hope, but a more embracing hope, and a greater generosity of spirit, and a deeper joy in this life we share. Earlier I told you that I didn't have a sermon or a talk or a reflection for you, that I had a message. I have a message. We are answering the call of love. In a time of rising dread, we do not answer the call of fear. In a time of injustice, we do not answer the call of anger. In a time of scarcity, we do not answer the call to violence. In a time of uncertainty, we do not answer the call to despair. It takes tremendous courage to answer the call of love. It takes courage and imagination to become earthseed, emergent humanity, the next step in our evolutionary journey. If you look up emergent humanity, well, you can't. I mean, you can, but it's not a thing. Yet. I might have just coined the phrase. Maybe the invisible and intangible best friends of hope and love just whispered it in my ear. I believe humanity as a whole is at a crossroads, a threshold, and that the cosmos is holding its breath as we desperately try to crack open the shell that is keeping us tight and small. I am no scientist, but I have spent enough time reading to know that Homo sapiens is just the latest form of humanity, the dominant species that won out over earlier forms. Most recently, the Neanderthals, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Australopithecus, Ramapithecus, and Dryopithecus. So why not Homo emergere? Emergere is the Latin word for emerge, which means to rise out or up, to bring forth, to bring to light. Emerge, for you grammar geeks, is an intransitive verb that can evoke images like a whale rising from the sea or someone emerging from a dark corner. To emerge is to bring to light. As earthseed, Homo emergere, emergent humanity, we are called to bring light. Give light, and people will find the way. Give light, and people will find the way. Give light, and people will find the way. People will find the way, I do believe. Together, we are answering the call of love. We do not answer the call of fear, the call of anger, violence, despair. We answer the call of love. Let me close with the Hopi prophecy with which I have closed each Saturday morning Zoom gathering since the beginning of the pandemic. To my fellow swimmers, here is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They are being torn apart and will suffer greatly. Know that the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, and keep our heads above water. And I say, see who is there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment we do, our spiritual growth and journey come to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration, for we are the ones we have been waiting for. Our song of response is Answering the Call of Love. It's number 1014 in the Teal hymnal. If you are looking at the hymnal, there's been a lyric change. The song was originally Standing on the Side of Love, but it was determined that that was a bit ableist. And so the composer changed the lyric, the title, to Answering the Call of Love. The amended lyrics will be on the screens up front. I did not amend all of your Teal hymnals. Let's rise in body or spirit as we sing. You may be seated.
I just love that song. Making time for an offering of gifts and pledges is an act of faith, an opportunity for us to live into one of the core values of Unitarian Universalism, generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We cultivate to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources, and our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. This congregation exists because of you, the acts of service you engage in, and your generous contributions. Every aspect of congregational life is made possible because of the generosity of members and friends, you. If you'd like to help pass the baskets along the aisles, please go to the back, I guess. Go somewhere. And and you will get a basket, and the offering will now gratefully be received. Extinguishing the chalice. We began our service with the lighting of our chalice, a symbolic act to remind us that each of us is a spark that creates the flame each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. We extinguish the chalice not to quench the flame, but return it to individual hearts, strengthened by this time together, so that we can share our light in the world. Please join me as we extinguish our combined flame and accept the renewed flame in your own heart, that each of us might bring more light and love to a dark and hurting world. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you, Suzanne. As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. You'll find many opportunities to grow and service for growth and service in your order of service and on our website. At noon today, there will be a conversation about Project 2025 in the living room, up the ramp, past the restrooms. Learn more about the document that is guiding the radical religious right in this country. The Living Green Festival, on an upbeat thing, is this Saturday. We need you. See any of the folks wearing special name tags to find out how you can help. And witch dance rehearsals are Monday afternoons. You don't need to be a witch or a dancer to participate. And now, please rise, embody your spirit as we sing our closing blessing. Remain standing afterward for the benediction.
Bass and Ron. Twinkle your eyes at one another. Travel. We end our service in the same way we began, with words from Leslie Takahashi, "On the brink." All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create: a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a greater generosity of spirit, a deeper joy in this life we share. Go in peace. Make a difference.